In the previous session, Greg already highlighted and introduced the potential and benefits of combining ITFM and enterprise management. I'm here now with Marcel to talk with him about how the integration of Apptio and LeanIX actually helps him and his business. Thank you, Marcel, for coming over in person and joining us for this interview. You already joined us for the beta phase of the base integration of Apptio. That base integration was released already earlier this year, and it covered bringing key IT landscape data from LeanIX into Apptio. But we are here right now to talk about your early access to the advanced integration, which is the next step of the integration, bringing cost data from Apptio into LeanIX. Before going into the details of that integration, let's briefly talk about enterprise architecture at Hermes first. So where do you currently stand with your EA practice and usage of LeanIX?
Also thank you for having me. I joined Hermes in 2018, beginning of 2018, and I'm a member of a 5-person team doing also solution architecture and enterprise architecture. And from my school of thoughts, I was understanding enterprise architecture as a compliance-based, process-based tool set with lots of frameworks. And I had to quickly learn that that's not applicable for Hermes. As in our market, digital services are main main source of differentiation. And therefore, we had to change our IT organization to DevOps teams, so giving more and more competencies to the teams itself. And therefore, enterprise architecture had to come out of the ivory tower and go into the mud itself and being a partner and an enabler and a supporter of these teams. So all these old approaches didn't work for them. So we had to change also our tool approach. So we had to search for a tool with a very simple but holistic meter model with visualization capabilities and also with an easy-to-use approach. And so therefore we decided very quickly for LeanIX and to do that. And since then we worked quite hard to make this tool a standard tool for the application landscape monitoring for the management and so on and so on. But since then we had to overcome some obstacles. So we learned, for example, that these teams are faced with lots of IT management tools and sometimes overwhelmed by them because all of them need, for example, application data. But on the other hand, sometimes they even outplay these different management functions as they want to just use one tool and not another tool. So we had to learn how we can integrate these tools. And therefore, last year at the EA Connect Days, we were more than happy to learn about the integration API and also the chance to integrate Apptio with LeanIX, and therefore, we heavily asked to join this program. So.
Okay, great. So integration of tools in general is an important topic for you, and it's great to hear that our open integration API is helping you with that one. Also for other tools, let's focus on Apptio and LeanIX right now. What did you achieve in the first phase of the base integration of LeanIX and Apptio?
Yes. Please allow me to just go one step back. So for IT controlling, and we heard similar in the talk from Greg, they face similar challenges. They have to also be transparent about cost. They have to be a partner of these teams. So they have similar challenges, and so they introduced Apptio also as their tool of choice. But they quickly found out that they need application data, and this application data has to come from LeanIX. So we included them in an Excel-based manual process where we monthly distributed all the application data to all who are interested in. So this has lots of problems. It's time-consuming. It's not very user-specific, so we had to share all the data. And also, we never knew what happened with the data. So the data was gone with the wind. So therefore, we changed that with the Apptio integration. So in the first, we started in March just to define, okay, what kind of data actually we need for the IT controlling. And we figured out that this kind of data is something different than just application data. We can also share project data, processes, and so on and so on. So many more information where we haven't thought about before. So in April, we tested that on our test instances, and very quickly in May, we went into the live environment. So since then, we exchanged data just with this Apptio integration. And I think I received an email yesterday from Tarun that this is now automatically done. So I haven't to do anything anymore for just exchanging the data. And that's also helping IT controlling just to get their specific data right in time so that they can do their analysis with the data, and that helps them a lot in their jobs as well.
So it's about reducing manual effort, right?
Mostly, yes.
Mostly, okay. That's a feedback we also get from our other customers, and it's awesome to hear that our automation, which is just running right now, is speeding up things even more. Yes. What is your motivation then now for the next step and your goals for the next step of the advanced integration, syncing cost data back from Apptio into LeanIX?
Yes. Well, we, from our point of view as enterprise architects or addressing application owners, we want to enable them to make smart decisions, to get all the necessary data they need to decide what should happen with their application they are responsible for. So we have very strongly thought, okay, what kind of data they actually need. So we came up with the solution was that we focus on TCO only, because we don't want to mirror Apptio. If there's something cost related which needs a deep analysis, they have to go to Apptio still. But give them an indicator to go to Apptio because something doesn't look right with the cost. So we give them, or we just want to get TCO cost, but add additional information. So we would like to rank the TCO cost, so rank the applications to see, okay, what's the position of your application in the overall landscape, but also give a categorization. So giving, similar to the business criticality, an indicator, is it an expensive application? And this categorization, again, has to be done by IT controlling, because they can decide best what is an expensive application in our landscape. So having this, we now do this in the first iteration together with Johannes and again Tarun to decide if this is all the information we need, also get feedback from the solution owners and application owners to understand, okay, is there still additional information and how we can relate that and improve our reports, for example, by saying, okay, how can I say what is the most expensive business capability, or how are my business critical application are doing, and so on and so on.
Okay, that sounds great. I especially like your idea of that ranking or categorization of TCO, because I think it's way easier to interpret by business stakeholders than just the pure numbers. Now that we know your goals, let's talk about what's going on right now. What did you already accomplish with that advanced integration right now?
Yes, like I said, the first stage is done, so we transfer our data to Apptio automatically, and now we are in the middle of the second phase, so getting data back. So we had our concept is done. It's now implemented into LeanIX, and I think shortly after today we will see the first iteration of it. And again, I must say that's lots of fun to do. As I see the dedication from you, so especially from Johannes and Tarun in this integration, finding new ideas to do that. And that's on this Apptio integration, but I can broaden the scope also to the integration API, which also I must point out Werner, who receives lots of emails from me and answer them. incredible fast way. That's very helpful for us to accomplish these integrations, not only for Apptio, but also for the other tools we would like to integrate.
Thank you very much for all these shout-outs to my colleagues. That's highly appreciated. And you told me that you are especially interested now focusing on what you will doing with the advanced integration to also get connected with everybody who's over here and those one of you joining online. So feel free to join our Slack channel. Marcel and myself will be available after that interview in that Slack channel to answer questions directly, and also during the next days we will be available, might not just answer right away, but we will see through that everything gets answered. So, yeah, we've learned a lot already about your integration situation with Apptio and also the other ones. For our last question, let's have a look at the bigger picture. So, what is your vision for EA at Hermes for the future?
Yes. Yeah, luckily I had already the chance this morning to point it out a bit, so be a bit more in detail. My vision is that we have this large landscape of diverse IT management tools which share all the data which they need to do their tasks and their capabilities. And also to avoid that EA users has to input this data manually in each tool, so that these tools exchange their data and also check the data and so on, so on. So having this broad landscape of diverse tools which can all do their best with shared and then a harmonized EA landscape. And to be honest, there's still some way to go to reach that. Of course, we made major steps towards that with this Apptio integration and also using the integration API to integrate the service management tool into LeanIX. But there are still some open questions. So there's still the question how to handle conflict, how to harmonize the data and so on and so on. And therefore, that's also great to be here, so to learn from you as well and also learn from the communities. I have to also rely on the community here at this event and also later to get new ideas or maybe different approaches. So maybe my approach is not the right, or maybe it's not fitting for every company, and I would like to learn, okay, in which circumstances this vision doesn't work, or when it will work best. So that's, therefore, I'm also shouting out to you and saying, please give me feedback on that, and I would like to discuss in more detail later today and in the future.
But I think your vision of integrating all the tools fits to the vision of others quite well. So yeah, I think making LeanIX your central pane of glass, interconnected with all the other systems, all the tool chains you're using, including Apptio with the costs, that's really something which fits perfectly to the others. So get in touch with Marcel, please. And for anybody else who's using LeanIX and Apptio right now and is interested in that integration, please feel free to reach out to my fellow LeanIX colleagues, whether in the Slack channel or on site over here. We would be happy to tell you more about it and how to get you running with this one. Yeah, thank you very much, Marcel, for coming over and joining this interview today. It was very insightful, and I'm glad you openly shared your experiences and ideas of combining the two tools. And I'm looking forward to maybe our next session during next EA Connect Days to tell everybody what was our final accomplishment. Thank you.
Thank you.